I have Siew Ting here today with me. She is my ex-colleague. I used to work with her at Diageo for a few years in Shanghai office. And she is a great colleague, great friend, great marketeer. So she's now launching this book, Building Brands with Soul. And so that's why I wanted to invite her and talk about this book with you. So thank you so much for coming, Siew Ting, in your busy schedule.
Hi everyone. I speak a bit of Japanese, but I try not to speak Japanese tonight, not to embarrass anyone. My name is Siew Ting. I'm a Singaporean. I'm actually corporate working person, but I also am a mother. I'm a mother of a young girl. She's 11 years old, and she's called Kayla. I'm professionally, I'm a transformation growth leader, or you could call marketeer or chief marketing officer. I've been with, my first 20 years with consumer goods companies, so the likes of many of the iconic brands from Unilever, Mars, Diageo, Fonterra, and then the last 6 years I've been in tech, so I was spending my time in HP. I'm personally very passionate about inspiring leaders, especially young marketeers and also leaders. And that was one of the reasons why I actually wrote this book. Because since I've mentored so many people, I want to share my experience so that I start, igniting conversation about leadership and leading with soul.
Fantastic. So Siew Ting has been with Hewlett Packard for the last 60 years. And then that's when you spend quite a lot of time in Tokyo, no?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember you coming to Tokyo and I wanted to see you, but we never come across.
Never meet.
And you have been consecutively 6 times nominated as Asia's most purposeful and influential CMOs, Chief Marketing Officers. Amazing. As a top women leader. How did it happen?
I actually didn't know how it happened.
Fantastic.
No, I guess I just keep doing what I'm really passionate about. I mean, which is 2 things. One is about marketing. I'm really passionate about marketing. I'm really passionate about building brands with soul. And then the other thing that I'm really passionate about, which is building teams, and leadership. And when you do what you're passionate about, things just happen. Yeah.
Amazing. I never asked you actually. Why did you got into marketing to begin with?
It was because I had an opportunity in university, in my second year, to go for, they will have this, exchange program, and I went for an internship. And I went for an internship with a company which is called Scott Paper. And now it's under Kimberly Clark, the company that produces, tissue paper. And there were actually 3 ex-Unilever marketeers, and they were fantastic in creating an entire program about marketing, everything about marketing. And because of that, when I was graduating, I was very specific, saying, hey, I really want to understand, I want to work in marketing because I'm very curious about the human minds. I want to be able to, use that to really impact the human minds. And I was very specific on going after, 2 world-class marketing organizations, Procter & Gamble and Unilever, and then I got recruited into Unilever.
Okay. What did you study at the university?
I studied business.
Okay, so business
majoring in marketing, yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah. So this internship experience really changed your life. Yes. Fantastic. I wanted to ask you about this book. So, Building Brands with Soul. What prompted you to write this book?
I think, as I mentioned earlier on, 10 years ago, before I become a CMO, I kind of always wish someone would teach me that that's literally a playbook to do that, but you can't find it, right? And then the other piece is the last 2 years, every Friday, I will write an email to my team without fail. And the email is about what I see around the world, what am I thinking, transformation messages. What do I think about certain new marketing topic? Because I lead teams that scattered around the world, I want to kind of cut short that communication journey. And I kept all these emails.
Nice.
And because I wish that there's a playbook for other people, and then also this whole intention that I'm big about mentorship. And I said, why don't I write a book and to really, inspire the next generation of leaders? Yeah.
Nice. I love this thing you email on every Friday. So you consistently did it every single Friday. How did you do that in busy schedule?
It was very intentional. So I always make sure that I leave some time on Friday in my calendar to write it. And actually, the writing process was great because it becomes a reflection
I know,
of
I know,
myself,
I
right? It's
know, I
also
know.
pays back to me on how am
Absolutely.
I reflecting about the week itself. So it actually is reciprocal. Yeah.
How nice. Guys, the audience, I don't know if you have ever had the leaders who write to you every week. I think I have had some leaders in my previous companies, some of them writing to us, this kind of message, like, I'm thinking about this, this inspired me, blah, blah, blah. But maybe twice a year, not every single Friday. That's amazing.
Thank
So this
you.
book is based on that, your love letter to your team, right?
No, I think it's more than that. But there without going too much into the book, there are three sections of the book, and the last section is on basically Friday emails.
Nice. I
So
can't
it's
wait.
written in the form of Friday emails. In that sense.
Nice. And how many people did you have? To how many people did you send this email?
The last role I did, I had a team of 50 people around the world.
Nice, nice. Okay, great. So I was intrigued by this title, Building Brands with Soul. What does building with soul means to you? And what are the examples?
Yes. As I've mentioned, I had great opportunity to work for and work with many iconic brands. From the likes of, Johnny Walker brand that you and I are very familiar
Yeah.
with, to Lux, to Dove, and many of them actually really has soul, right? And for me, soul means very much a spirit in that sense. And through all these years of building brands, I kind of, summarize in this book, 5 key criterias of what building brands with soul and what is a brand with soul mean. And I think a brand with soul has to be a brand that really is anchored in purpose. And this purpose has to be, built from a universal human truth. The second piece is, this brand also needs to keep reinvent with time. While they have a great purpose, if they don't stay relevant with the context of the macro environment, then they are not a brand with soul. The third thing is, we all love brands, and I'm sure the brands that you connect with are those that are connecting with you on emotional level, and it actually has an impact in people's life. And also the fourth criteria, which I'm a firm believer of, that is great brands has to start from within, meaning the employees that work in the company needs to truly believe in the brand, and you can feel that passion.
Yeah.
And a great brand with soul can galvanize an entire organization. And last but not least, a brand is with soul when you can, you don't have to use numbers to quantify it. I mean, obviously, in the end, it is a high brand with great growth itself, but you can actually feel it, you can sense it, you can taste it, you can touch it. It's invisible. It's almost like a person with a huge spirit walks into the
Mm,
room.
mm,
You
mm,
recognize that as a brand. So those are my
mm.
5 criteria of what does a brand with soul means.
Great, very, very clear. Guys in the audience, if you think about any brands that even Japanese brand that you think have soul, please write on the chat. Siew Ting, do you want to tell us about some of the examples of your the brands that you love or the brands that comes into this category, whether you have worked with them or not?
Yeah, I think maybe a best example is a brand that has soul and then the brand with no soul. I think a brand with soul for me that I have worked with and I'm fully passionate about, and I think Noriko, that's how you and I meet is Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
So, Johnny Walker is a fantastic brand with great soul. It has 180 years of heritage. You know it when you see it. You can feel it. It has fantastic whiskey, great quality whiskey. You can see the striding man, and the packaging and everything, and it's also constantly relevant with time, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
the positioning is about progress, inspiring people's progress, and they keep innovating. And it's also one of the brands that actually has the most amazing, campaign and creativity and innovation. Now, another great example of a brand with soul, but recently might have lost its soul a little bit, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, is the Nike brand.
Mm.
Um, I mean, Nike is a fantastic brand, great brand, but there's a lot of talk about, in the industry now recently on how they lost a little bit of their soul. But I'm sure it will come back, with the right strategy, it will come back, it will regain its soul, enhance growth.
Yeah. Great, thank you. No, I love Johnny Walker. I love what it stands. I love the progress. Now, from a Japanese, audience and Japanese point of view, we are not. Okay, I have a question for you. What do you think about
Sure.
Japanese business people? Or when you think about Japanese business, compared to what's happening in other countries, or what do you think? What characterizes good and bad Japanese business?
I think Japanese has the best craftsmanship on earth, in terms of, everything is built with, quality and craftsmanship. But if you look at Japanese communication, it tends to be pretty functional.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I was leading the Japan team in terms of communication, there's always this, task and turn around. Hey, how much the communication need to be anchored on the product and being functional, versus the emotional level. So there's always this, tension, around it. But I feel that Japanese brands or Japanese, communication and the brands that really resonate
Hello.
with the Japanese actually
Okay.
has a good balance of, the functional and the emotional connection. And when that magic happens, that is where, you know things will really, grow really well. Yeah. Does that
Yeah,
make sense,
absolutely.
Rico? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you on the craftsmanship because we are so like, details, perfectionist on every small point. So that's our strengths. When it comes to, I might say a bit of lack of emotional benefit and more toward functional. I agree with you as well. And absolutely, for any great brands, you need to have a both point. So functional means what the products. If in the case of whiskey, let's say what it tastes like, what it does to you. Emotional is how I feel when I use that brand. So, for example, Uniqlo might be the heat tech. It keeps me warm. But emotional means, I feel XX when I wear Uniqlo. So
Yeah.
that's the difference of functional and emotional benefits. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I wanted to ask you about the second point, the importance of reinvention and innovation. I'm not sure how Japanese fits in this category these days. What do you think?
I think I beg to differ a little bit. On the outside, it might seem that, um Japanese are a little bit more risk adverse in that perspective
Yeah.
because of the quality and the perfection and the making it really well. But actually, some of the best innovation comes from Japan, um, like the cars. I mean, if you even look at just fashion, which is something that you mentioned, Uniqlo is the first to come out with, the heat tech itself, right? So Japan has great innovation. I think the challenge is, how do you combine this whole, this whole dedication to craftsmanship and quality, and knowing when to, hey, just take a little bit of a risk and push your
Yeah,
boundaries,
yeah,
and
yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
communicate, Japanese cultural externally in a really bold way, is where the opportunity is. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, this about being risk taking. I think there's a lot to do with management and the kind of environment and the culture of the team and the company. What do you think about it? What's the best way to change it? If I feel a lot of Japanese companies have great products, but they're too traditional. They're too, let's say, not innovative enough to go forward and to go abroad. What advice do you have?
I think it has to start from the top. It has to start
Yeah.
from the leaders, themselves. But also, I think it has to start with diversity. And once you have more diverse conversation, and you create an environment to allow diverse conversation, that is when things happen. And I'm seeing that improving in Japan. I mean,
Yeah.
there
Little
has
by
been
little.
little by little, but improving, that there has been organizations that has, I'm seeing more female CEO, which is not something that you actually see a decade ago. So I think that's a great an opportunity. And also I'm observing this trend, right? I think post COVID in Japan, the younger generation, there's what we call, we call them the gig workers. So the Japanese, a younger generation, are embracing gig workers, portfolio careers. They wanted things that are not so traditional and linear. When you promote an environment that encourages that, that is when things will start evolving and reinventing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Maybe I come back to the diversity and women point at the end of this conversation because as
Sure.
you can see, we are all women here. Okay, great. Going back to your book. So I like to talk about leadership now. So the leadership we saw, why is it? I know I think it's important, but why is it important now? What to do with this timing and how that world is changing, and as a marketing leader, especially.
I think it's extremely important now because we are in a phase where there's a lot of change, pretty turbulent from a macro economic and standpoint. But the role of marketing, or I call it the chief marketing officer, or CMO, over the past 5 years has been pretty challenging, right? I mean, if you look at all the C-suite leadership, compared to the peers of CFO and others, supply chain officer or CIO, the marketing function usually tend to be a little bit more short-lived. A lot of that is really driven because of technology, and also a lot of that is also because the CEO or the C-suite doesn't quite understand marketing because things just keep changing very quickly. Um, for me, that is where leadership comes in. And that in my book, I talk about it as a leadership with soul. And what does it mean by that? If you look at the book cover, and I'm not quite sure whether you can see it, but let me see. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ripple here. I don't know what you call it in Japanese. It's a ripple. This is a ripple.
Okay.
So it's like water ripple for me. And there's a meaning behind it. It's stated in the book. I created this ripple icon because for me, leadership with soul, it has to come into 4 layers of ripples. The first layer is self. So it starts with self mastery. You have to know yourself really well. You
Mm,
have to
mm.
be anchored in purpose, but you need to continuous reinventing yourself and stay curious and keep growing, right? So it's just like building a brand with soul. When you know yourself, then you can lead teams and build high performing teams. And high performing teams has to be teams that has a north star, And you have to put the right people in the bus and then create the right environment to allow best performance to be unleashed. And then the third ripple is what I talk about, the tactics and the strategies on building brands with soul. So with these three things, self, team, brand, they can really drive, business impact. But business impact at a multi-stakeholder level. So this is what I meant by leadership with soul. And in the book, I talk quite a lot about different ways in. And why do I use a ripple icon? It's kind of a little bit about my own legacy. I hope this ripple, start creating, more ripples. So more mini ripples, more mini Siew Ting, or more inspiring leaders with soul. And then it start igniting a conversation of leadership with humanity and with soul, which I think is needed in this world.
Thank you. So the first point about know yourself. I do this coaching community, and I think knowing ourselves is so important. But very often, especially for women, as you get married and have kids, maybe for men as well, actually, we don't have much opportunity to get to know ourselves, no? When you work between home and office, etc. How did you realize this? How do you take time and opportunity to get to know yourself? Like, I guess that Friday email is one of the opportunities, but for people in the 30s or late 20s or slightly younger generation, what advice do you give, or what were you doing at the younger age to get to know yourself?
I guess because I had a lot of great mentors and great sponsors. When I was in early 30s, I actually faced a little bit of a crisis, identity crisis. I was very good at my work and professional, but something was missing. And I was fortunate that Diageo then gave me a coach. And with
I
the
didn't know
coach,
that. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
I got a coach.
Huh.
I was struggling with work and everything. It's like the work becomes my identity and not who
I
Siew
know, I
Ting
know.
is. And I had a coach, and the coach brought me through this whole journey of, what is the purpose, and work with me to understand my purpose. And because of that experience, I am always very anchored in purpose.
Okay.
And and the purpose guides me. And this purpose changes according to different life stage. Like
Yeah.
when I become a mother, it changes, and then it just keep changing.
Yeah.
And my advice on that, on self, is you have to really have self-care. And it's easier said than done, right?
I know, I know, I know.
You need to really craft time off for yourself to take care of yourself. And also some time for reflection. So writing and journaling for me is reflection. And then the other thing is also balance of mind and health, mind, body, soul. Exercising and things is really, really critical. And for me, my purpose is about unleashing people's potential. And if I want to unleash people's potential, I can't come from an empty cup. I need to live life the fullest for myself, and I need to
Yeah.
unleash my own potential
Yeah. Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
self-care is critical.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. No, I didn't know you had a coach, and I love Diageo. I still work with Diageo. Diageo is my clients, and I think it's a fantastic company. They led the diversity 25 years ago. They've done so many wonderful things, and I didn't know that they had the coaching things like that was 20 years ago. No, even
Yeah,
more. Maybe. Yeah, amazing. Okay, great. Yeah, so working with professional, I think it really helps to get to know yourself, but also journaling, writing, etc.
yeah,
Absolutely. Okay, great. I'm a bit conscious about time because I think people might have lots of questions, so I
sure.
go next one. What is your playbook of leading with soul?
So I talk about the ripple effect. So the book actually explains this. But if you look at my own playbook, I sum it up in 5 C's. So it's not 5 carats for diamond. Neither in Singapore. Singapore has 5 C's. But I'm not going to that. But my own 5 C's is one, curiosity. So always stay curious so that you keep learning. The second thing is, conviction. So have the conviction to stick to something that you're fully passionate about and really take it through. The third thing is commitment. So when I set my mind on something, I will go really after it,
Mm,
and have the courage,
mm.
foresee courage. And last but not least, for me, um, creativity is really important. Creativity in not just storytelling, but creativity in solving business problem, and even creativity to have the right narrative to galvanize people together. For me, that's actually really important. Yeah.
Which one of this is your easiest one or your strengths, and which one is the most difficult one for you?
For me, creativity and courage is easiest for me. I'm known to be a little bit of a rule breaker, in that sense. Which one is most difficult is, sometimes it's commitment.
Yeah, I know.
And commitment, not so much. I think I'm really committed to work and professional.
I know,
And
yeah.
I'm not that committed to myself, because sometimes I will be too committed in work
Good work,
and I
yes.
forget myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, a lot of this audience had the same tendency.
Same
That's why I'm
thing.
asking. I knew it. So what do you do to commit to yourself? Do you have any routines, or do you have things you do for yourself?
I actually have someone at home to hold me accountable. Or when I was working, I always make sure that my assistant block out times in my day. Um, and I think I take baby steps. So exercise is not something I'm very good at. But I take baby steps. So celebrate step by step. And when
Yeah.
I see the effect come through, it's better, because when your soul, right? So it means your mind and your body needs to be fully aligned, and your heart needs to be fully aligned. When that happens, you are actually more creative.
Mhm.
And I realized that you have to take care of yourself first. Then you can be at your best and be more creative.
Yeah, yeah. I can't agree more, but it's also difficult for me to do, 5-10 minutes of exercise and even 40 minutes. Yeah. Tell me a bit about rule breaker. You said you're great at creativity and courage, and you often break rules. Tell me some of the examples, if you can share.
It's a little bit just because of, and read the book. The book will explain why I'm a
Okay,
rule.
okay. We will read
The
the book.
book will explain why I'm a rule breaker. But um, I'm always one of the first who is not afraid to try something new. And if the ambition is bold, I don't mind trying it. I actually gain satisfaction from that. You can call that a rule breaker, or you can just that my risk appetite is actually
Sure,
much
sure.
higher. Yeah.
Is that your personality? Have you been always like this since childhood?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I'm the to explain a little bit. I'm the middle child
Okay.
of three girls.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So you can see the pattern.
Great, interesting. So I'm sure everyone's gonna buy your book. I will buy a few, and I want to give out to my friends as well. What can readers get out from your book?
Yeah, I think for marketing, aspiring marketing leaders, and even entrepreneurs, you will learn how to build brands with soul. But you also, through my own personal journey, have a little bit of an understanding of how to lead with soul. That I have 10 tips of leading with soul, and all through examples and use cases. And then last but not least, it's a playbook for aspiring marketeers, aspiring marketers who want to be a CMO, and also even anyone that is also in the entrepreneur stage. Some of those real life examples could really, hopefully, could really help you. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. I know many of the audience today are interested in marketing, and some of them are marketeers, and actually some has just joined from Singapore as well, so they are from everywhere. And great, great, great. Okay, ladies, we're gonna have a Q&A soon, so be prepared with your questions. Huh? Okay, and you talked a lot about mentoring yourself, but do you yourself, do you have a mentor or CEO that works with you to demonstrate leadership with soul?
Yes, I'm my first 20 years of my career, I'm very fortunate to have great mentors, which is why I believe in paying back. I mean, I've worked for the best entrepreneur on earth, best CEO, best CMO, and also the chief creative officers, many of them. But I think one that will really resonate with me is in my role in Mars, my second job, I work with an entrepreneur who actually is the founder of the company that Mars acquired. And I actually worked under him and understudied him for a while. We're still in contact actually. And I think for me, he really is a leader with soul. He exemplifies all the stuff and all the qualities that I talked about. And he's always been my inspiration, and I want to be like him. Yeah.
Okay, okay. How do you get mentors? Is it official? I guess in some companies it might be official, but in a lot of Japanese companies it's not official. Do you kind of go to that person and talk to them and ask them to be a mentor, or like what do you do?
It's not official. It's for me, I always go and seek mentorship. So if there is someone that I truly admire, or if that someone has certain things I want to learn from, and it might change, and it always changes at different stage
Sure,
of
sure,
your
sure.
career, I
Sure.
will go out and ask that person to be my mentor. So I
Okay.
think there's two concepts that's slightly different. A mentor is different from a sponsor.
Sure.
So a sponsor might be someone that is your boss, or someone really senior with the company. And a sponsor is someone that will actually push you for your career and actually speak of you itself. But mentor is not necessarily a sponsor. But in my experiences, you don't wait for a mentor to come to you. You just go and find a mentor yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say, I work in a company that's a big company, and I might be mid-30s, and I have a lady, I don't know, CMO, who is that's 3 layers up from me.
Yeah.
What should I do?
I think you should just be thick-skinned. Um, Go up to the person and make an appointment,
Okay.
and literally say, can I have coffee with you? I really admire you. I want to learn from you. And sometimes it happens and it works, and sometimes the person might be too busy and doesn't work. You have to keep trying. Yeah. But
Okay.
I find that often people will be willing to mentor you, but you have to be prepared on on what you want to get out of it, so that you're prepared with the questions to ask, and to also be humble enough to to try many times. Yeah.
No, I can't agree more. So that's what I tell the ladies as well. But we tend to be sometimes shy. It's like, really, can I go to CMO, etc. How
No,
about
thick skin.
I
Thick
know,
skin.
right? Yeah, I agree. But if I have like 2 layers in between, should I tell these? Let's assume like CMO is a lady, right? And I have 2 layers of men. Do I need to tell them that I'm going to talk to this lady?
Well, I think it depends on culture.
Yeah,
I mean, in the context of Singapore and a little bit more Western, I don't think it's necessary. But
let's
maybe in
go.
the Japanese culture, you just out of politeness, you need
Yeah,
you just inform them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, being a woman, I think helps because if we say I would like to talk to that lady, it's kind of a create a reason why.
Correct.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so mentorship, you just go and talk to people, and then you kind of acquire them as a mentor. Sponsorship, do you go and actively, proactively kind of engage them, or what do you do? The same.
Yes.
Yes.
If I look back at my career trajectory, the moments that I actually do really well is because I have a sponsor.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But sometimes you might not get a sponsor, or sometimes luck, sometimes luck will
Oh.
give you a sponsor, right? But I think we all need sponsors in our life, and intentionally, finding a sponsor. I mean, the person might not be your sponsor because you have to prove the credibility with the person first. But having a sponsor is critical for career progression.
And again, how did you find these sponsors? I mean, it could be your boss, it could be someone more senior, it could be someone from different department or different country, depending on what you want to do. I mean, in my case, I kind of try to go and be friends with them and trying to be liked by them, and then I will kind of share my dream or my intentions, etc., and loosely form to sponsorship. How did you do?
I think yes, you do that, but I think it goes back to, it's a little bit like building brands, right? It goes back to trust, and credibility, and what you're known for. If you're really good with your work and you're known for certain things, and you intentionally communicate that, and people will start talking about you. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so you need to know your own brand, and you need to build trust, and you need to build credibility, because the person might meet you, but if you don't deliver the credibility and you
Sure.
don't create the trust, the person won't be your sponsor. Yeah.
Absolutely. So as a CMO, I guess you've been mentors and sponsors to lots of people, no?
Yeah. Yes, I have. Yeah.
From your point of view, from top, what works well
In terms of what works well.
in terms of these junior people coming in and seek you? If you have any, besides what you have just explained, any additional point that?
Yes, I think I won't say no to meeting for mentorship, but because as a CMO, you're very busy, your time is very short. So I would prefer people who come in prepared with a conversation on very clearly, um, not just, hey, I just want to have a chat. No,
Sure.
people who
Yes.
come in and say, hey, I have this objective, I have this goal. What advice I want to get from you, what help I want to get from you, and I have a structure, conversations. So far, those ones are the ones that I will remember,
Yeah.
because I know that they are the ones that are prepared. They know what they want. They might not have all the answers, but they are very, very clear on their goal and what they want to get out of that conversation.
Mm-mm. Okay, great. I would like to ask you a bit about, being a woman, balance between private life and professional life, and then I will open to the floor about the questions. How have you managed being a mother and, well, I guess in Singapore it's very common, is it?
Yes, it's very common.
Do
In
you see
Singapore,
any, yeah,
it's very common. Yeah.
you worked a lot in Japan. What do you see as the difference between Japanese professional women and Singaporean professional women, if any?
I guess from a societal standpoint, from Singapore, it's very easy to get help. Right. We have domestic help, in that sense. The
Yeah,
second piece is, societal expectations also doesn't, you know, like we, the man and the female play equal life, right? So me and my husband, like when I was in China working with you, my husband actually took a career break for me. So we play equals life, in helping each other. But I think in the nutshell, my advice is three things. Like I do three things. I don't think I am perfect, to be frank. I don't believe in work-life balance. There is no work-life balance. I believe in work-life integration, meaning I try to integrate my life into work. So, for example, when I travel, if it's possible, sometimes I'll bring the family along, and I'll bring my daughter along, and I find that actually that is really good. I mean, now that she's grown up,
yeah,
she get exposed to what you do,
yeah.
and actually she grows as a person. The second thing I do is I always is not afraid to ask for help, because I've got help at home, and my husband play a critical role in helping us in the life of my daughter. So we play equal role. And then the third thing is, don't be too hard on yourself.
I know.
So don't try to be perfect, right? We females, sometimes we want to be perfect. We want to take the task. It's okay not to be perfect. Yeah.
Tell me about your non-perfection. What's I don't know. I could say like my bedroom now is a mess, but tell me some of your.
Oh, I'm very bad. I'm very good at work. I'm very structured. I'm very go-getter and work. But sometimes when I had tried to balance work and trying to balance personal, like picking the daughter and everything, I get really messy. So sometimes I'm very messy on the personal front. But I try not to beat myself out and say, hey, I have to be perfect in that area, right? As long as I do my job, both sides, it's okay.
I just remembered I used to forget collecting my boy or my girl, because I sometimes messed up with what time I had to go and pick them up. And I was like, sorry, I forgot. So I just that happens. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Siew Ting. I'm gonna stop this recording now so that we can